J.J. Watt did the Zoom media session yesterday here in Houston and was asked about the Texans' lack of moves at the trade deadline. Watt was in a lot of trade rumors. There was some thought that the Texans may look to move him to a contending team and kind of do right by J.J. and also get an asset, get a draft pick in return. So this was Watt yesterday when asked about his future with the Texans.
Obviously, I'm trying to do whatever I can to help us win games. I don't think it's any secret that I don't have 10 years left in this league. I personally believe that I do have a few more great ones left in me. But you also can't. I'm not looking to rebuild. I'm looking to go after a championship, and that's what I want to do. So, whatever's in the best interest of the Houston Texans, that's in the best interest of myself. And so, but like I said, I'm interested in winning a championship in this league. That's how every player's goal.
The problem for Watt is that I don't see that championship happening in Houston within the next year or so. And if you look at J.J. Watt's situation with the Texans, he is obviously their best player in the history of that franchise. He's one of the most popular athletes ever in the history of Houston, if not the most popular athlete in the history of the city. I mean, he's beloved. But I think if you just look at where we're headed with this, J.J. Watt's not a Texan next year. J.J. Watt's contract is no longer guaranteed after the season. He's due $17.5 million next year. What will be the final year of his contract extension he signed in 2014? The Texans do not have any salary cap space. They don't have a first or a second round pick. Even with a new coach coming in and still having Deshaun Watson as your quarterback, is this a Houston team that's ready to win a championship next year? Maybe they could be a playoff team because you have a franchise quarterback in Deshaun Watson, but this is not a Texans team that's a year away from getting back to winning. No shot. The damage Bill O'Brien did to this roster can't be repaired in one offseason. So to me, the writing has been on the wall for a while that this is J.J. Watt's last season with the Texans. It just is. They'll cut him if they can't trade him and try and save all that money on their salary cap space. And I think if you're J.J. Watt, it's not that you want to leave the Texans. In an ideal world, in a perfect world, you're back next year and the team's contending and you could win here in Houston and you could play your entire career with this team. But how often in the NFL do we see players finish their career with one team? It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. Tom Brady is playing for the Tampa Bay Bucks right now. We have seen this over and over again where a superstar player finishes their career elsewhere and it's accepted. So I know Texans fans would probably be upset if JJ's not on the team, but I think a lot of them would also understand that, hey, this makes sense for us long term because we might need to rebuild for a year or two. And J.J. Watt at age 31 deserves the opportunity to go somewhere where he can win. And at this point, J.J. Watt's still a good player, but he's not worth $17.5 million a year. The production doesn't warrant that type of salary at this point. So I don't think any team would trade for him. And if no team trades for him, the Texans will cut him. And if they cut him, I think J.J. will sign with a team that has a better chance of winning next year. And this is an obvious fit, but what if he takes a one-year deal and goes to Pittsburgh and plays with his brother and plays with his other brother, Derek, who's a fullback on that team? You get all three Watt brothers on the same team. I think JJ would love, even if he has to take less money, the opportunity to have that experience to play with his brothers for at least a season. I think that's where JJ Watt's headed.